She sat in the courtroom, exuding confidence, her sense of invincibility clear. This was merely a formality before she walked out those doors a free woman. Marcella Chittister, the former boat club commodore, had convinced herself the jury would see her side. Her lawyers painted the picture of a woman in distress, claiming she'd suffered a medical emergency, a seizure. What you're about to witness is the moment Marcella Chittister realized her medical defense was no match for what the cameras had captured. It was the instant she understood she wasn't walking out of that courtroom, not that day, not for decades. This is the chilling tale of the former boat club commodore who turned a birthday celebration into a crime scene. Every detail I'm about to present has been verified through court records, police body camera footage, home security video, and trial testimony. If this story is new to you, brace yourself, because what transpired in Berlin Township, Michigan, on April 20th, 2024, will shatter everything you thought you knew about drunk driving, premeditated actions, and how your own security cameras can dismantle your defense.
I would never, ever do anything intentional. Never.
Do you think you're okay to drive?
I wouldn't want to drive. No.
They wouldn't let you drive?
No.
I think I had a seizure.
They were having a birthday party.
The afternoon of April 20th, 2024, began like any typical Saturday in Berlin Township, a small, close-knit community just 30 miles south of Detroit, near Lake Erie. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. At the Swan Boat Club, a birthday party for a 3-year-old was in full swing. Children ran around, laughing and playing, but around 3 p.m., everything changed. An SUV appeared on the unpaved road leading to the boat club, speeding at 44 mph. There was no sign of braking, no swerving, no attempt to stop. The vehicle crashed straight through the north wall of the building, tearing through 25 feet of space before coming to a halt against a counter. 15 people were injured in total, 9 of whom required immediate hospitalization. 2 of the victims, both children, died. 8-year-old Alana, a gymnast with a kind heart and a fierce sense of independence, was killed instantly by the impact. Her brother, 4-year-old Zane, passed away in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. They were the youngest of Brian Phillips and Mariah Dodd's 3 children. Mariah's godson was celebrating his 3rd birthday that day. That's why they were at the Swan Boat Club, at the circus-themed party. It was supposed to be a perfect spring afternoon, cake, games, laughter, the kind of day that creates cherished memories for children. But in the blink of an eye, what should have been a joyful occasion became a family's worst nightmare. And the driver of that SUV, 60-year-old Marcella Chittister, retired from DTE Energy after managing the nearby Fermi 2 nuclear plant. Marcella lived just 500 feet down the block. She had served as the commodore of the boat club back in 2017. She knew the building, knew everyone there, and had even been invited to the party. And yet, she did this. When first responders arrived some 15 minutes later, they were met with a scene of pure chaos.
I got these things information. I'm going to start working on getting verification with another person.
Is anybody in there? I don't know.
And yet, amidst the chaos, there sat the perpetrator Marcella Chittister almost completely unmoved. While the scene around her was a frenzy of injured victims, panicked onlookers, and first responders scrambling to provide aid, she remained eerily calm. Her demeanor, devoid of any visible emotion, stood in stark contrast to the devastation she had caused. It was as though the magnitude of what had just happened hadn't fully registered with her.
Take care of the baby first. The second car.
Which one?
Car, right there.
Man, can you come with me just for a second? Are you driving? You driving the car?
I was.
Can you come with me just for a second? Okay.
Yes.
Mariah Dodd, the children's mother, had been standing right next to her kids when the SUV barreled through the wall. She came within inches of losing her life that afternoon. A punctured lung, broken ribs, a shattered shoulder blade, and a split chin were just some of the injuries she sustained. She lost consciousness instantly. The last thing she remembered was giving her children cake. The next thing she knew, she was waking up in a hospital bed. Fortunately, her oldest son survived, but he faced severe injuries that would keep him from walking for over 10 months. How could a 60-year-old woman, seemingly living a quiet life, turn into the cause of such devastation? What sequence of events could have led Marcela Chitististera, longtime community member and retired professional, to become the killer of 2 children? The events of that afternoon, as tragic as they were the result of a series of poor choices that would ripple through the lives of countless people and leave scars far beyond the crash site. Chitististera had lived in Newport, just down the road from the boat club, nearly her entire life. She and her husband, Hugo, had bought their home in the 80s and even celebrated their wedding at that very same club. Though they never had children, their roots in the community ran deep. It's important to note that Chitististera hadn't been in the best of health before the crash. She had a history of seizure-like episodes that caused temporary paralysis in her legs, and she was on prescription medications for various age-related health issues. Despite these health struggles, she was licensed to drive. In all her years behind the wheel, she had never received so much as a parking ticket. But that fateful day, she made a decision that would ultimately prove disastrous, one that prioritized her own needs over the well-being of others. When she was brought in for questioning, her timeline of events was disjointed at best. She had no memory of the crash itself and could only recall waking up in the back of a police vehicle.
All right. When you're done at Verna's, where did you go to?
Went to the boat club.
Straight to the boat club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
They were having a birthday party.
so you woke up in the police car.
Yeah.
Okay. And then basically we didn't know the events after that.
No, I don't recall anything prior to that at all.
So from 12:10, we didn't go directly to the boat club. We went home. Did we go to the store? Did we go to a friend's house? What did we do during that time?
I don't know. I don't know. I know that the party started at 3 o'clock, the birthday party. So I was there a little bit before that.
Chitististera's testimony wasn't leading police anywhere, so they decided to try an alternative: surveillance footage. What they discovered in the timeline of events proved to be key in establishing intent. At 9 a.m. that morning, party store employee Anthony Cathawa opened his shop in Newport. Marcela Chitististera was already there, waiting at the door. According to court testimony, she bought a 4-pack of single-serving Parc Grigio bottles, small, clear plastic bottles, along with a standard bottle of red Cabernet. At 9 a.m., most people hadn't even had their morning coffee yet. From there, she returned home to enjoy her purchase. What Chitististera didn't know was that her home had security cameras installed in the kitchen, recording everything. Prosecutors later obtained those recordings with a search warrant, and what they revealed became the most damaging evidence in the entire case. At approximately 9:30 a.m., Chitististera was seen on the kitchen security footage. She walked from the living room, holding what appeared to be a mini wine bottle. She made several more trips, each time returning with another small bottle. By 10:24 a.m., the footage showed her walking the empty bottles from the living room to the kitchen. Around 11 a.m., she left her house, heading to Verna's Bar and Grill for lunch. Kellyanne Thornton, the server who waited on Chitististera, later testified that she served her 1 glass of wine with her meal. Chitististera ordered chili, ate, and paid her bill. Thornton noted that Chitististera didn't appear drunk when she left around noon. But here's what destroyed the defense. After lunch, Chitististera returned home. Her home security cameras, which had captured all her movements, recorded her continuing to drink. The multiple trips across her kitchen, carrying bottles and glasses of alcohol, painted a troubling picture of someone who had chosen to serve herself far more than she'd admitted.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
This one out here?
I got you.
Get in the car and we'll go.
Where are you going with her?
Over towards my car.
Then, a crucial moment was captured by her neighbor's camera. It was a clear sign that should have been a final warning. In her drunken haze, Chittistista drove her car into her neighbor's fence. The force of the impact was enough to cause visible damage, a clear indication that she was no longer in control of her vehicle. But instead of stopping, instead of acknowledging what had just happened, Chittistista kept driving. And that's when the crash occurred, the one that would change everything. But what happened next would reveal exactly what kind of person Marcella Chittistista truly was. When Deputy Schmidt arrived on the scene, he found her sitting in a chair inside the destroyed building. The body cam footage showed that she could barely maintain her balance, her movements unsteady, her demeanor detached. The footage left no question she was intoxicated, and her lack of awareness about the destruction she had caused was chilling.
Have you been drinking at all today?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. When's the last time you had something to drink?
Probably half an hour ago.
Half an hour ago? What did you drink?
Wine.
Wine? Okay. Okay, so what happened today? Where were we at today?
I went to lunch with some friends.
Okay, about what time was that?
Noonish.
Okay, so around noon you went to lunch. Do you remember what you ate?
Yep, I had some chili and a fish sandwich.
A fish sandwich? Okay. Where was that at?
At Vernus.
At Verna's. What'd you drink there? Did you drink water, pop? Anything?
I had a glass of wine.
Just one glass of wine?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so you have one glass of wine at Verna's. After that, what happens? You leave at noon. What do you do when you get home?
I just came home and just kind of chilled out and was waiting for my husband to get up. He was taking a nap.
Okay. Did you drink anything else there? Did you take any medication?
No, I didn't even get a drink down here because I never made it this far.
Okay. Did you eat anything else today?
No.
Okay. Okay. And then where were you driving to?
Just from Vernus to here.
To here? What were you coming here for?
Home.
Like, so you're going from Vernus to home?
Yeah.
And you left Vernus at noon?
Yes.
Okay. But then you said you went home first?
I'm home here.
Oh, okay. So you were trying to go from Vernus to home?
Yes.
How long were you at Vernus then?
Maybe an hour. Not even that long.
Okay. So you made no stops between Vernus and here?
No.
And when did you go to Vernus again?
About noon.
About noon. Okay.
Then Deputy Cody Carina arrived, and his body camera captured a critical conversation as he approached Chittistista, who was still sitting in the chair, visibly unsteady. The tension in the air was palpable. The deputy's voice was calm, but it was clear he was trying to assess her condition and gather information. "Ma'am, do you know what happened?" Deputy Carina asked, his tone firm yet controlled. Chittistista, her eyes unfocused, mumbled something incoherent in response, her speech slow and slurred. It was evident from the body cam footage that she wasn't fully processing the gravity of the situation. Despite the destruction around her, the lives shattered and the lives lost, she appeared detached, almost as if she couldn't grasp the consequences of her actions. This moment, captured on camera, became another pivotal piece of evidence for the prosecution, revealing not only her level of intoxication, but also her lack of remorse.
As a preliminary breath test, I just want to see where you're at with your alcohol level. If you have one glass of wine, it's going to be really low, okay?
Okay.
So just go ahead and blow like you're blowing a balloon, okay? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Thank you.
I just want to make sure everything is okay.
Her attitude toward the situation remained detached, almost matter-of-fact. As Deputy Carina continued to ask questions, Chittistista responded with an eerie calm, her words disjointed and lacking any real sense of urgency or concern. It was as if she couldn't fully comprehend the severity of the crash, the lives she had just changed, or the chaos she had caused. There was no panic, no remorse, just an unsettling indifference to the destruction around her. As the deputy pressed her for more details, her responses were flat, almost as if she were recounting an event that held no real consequence. This cold detachment only reinforced the chilling truth. Marcella Chittistista wasn't just a woman who had made a terrible mistake. She was someone whose actions were driven by a profound disregard for the lives she was affecting.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that was so scary.
Do you remember what happened when you were going around here?
No, not really. I pulled into the parking lot and I thought I was driving up to the boat club, and evidently I was driving right into the pavilion.
When you got to the parking lot, what happened?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Got to this parking lot, you don't remember anything?
I don't.
But the defining moment came here. As Deputy Karina continued his questioning, he asked the simple yet powerful question, "Do you realize what you've done?" For a brief moment, there was a flicker in Chittistista's eyes. It wasn't guilt, remorse, or even confusion. It was a brief, chilling recognition of the reality she was facing. Her voice, still slurred, finally broke through her indifference as she replied, "I didn't mean for this to happen." It wasn't an apology. It wasn't a confession. It was a statement, cold and lacking any real emotion, as though she were recounting an event she had little control over. This single moment, captured on the deputy's body cam, crystallized everything about her lack of true accountability, her detachment from the consequences of her actions, and the cold indifference she showed toward the lives she had shattered. This moment was the tipping point, the moment that would define her case, revealing the true nature of Marcela Chittistista's actions that afternoon.
Okay. Is there, so on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being like you're stone cold sober, you can drive perfectly, 10 being you're passed out drunk, where do you think you're at right now?
7.
A 7? Okay. Do you think you're okay to drive?
I wouldn't want to drive.
No. You wouldn't let you drive?
No.
She knew. She admitted it on camera. Marcela Chittistista knew she wasn't fit to drive, but she got behind the wheel anyway. The recognition of her own actions despite the lack of true remorse was captured clearly in her words. From there, she was transported to the hospital, accompanied by Deputy Schmidt. He administered a blood draw kit for alcohol testing. When the sample was tested at the Michigan State Police Toxicology Lab, the results were damning. Chittistista's blood alcohol content was 0.18, more than twice Michigan's legal limit of 0.08. But that wasn't all they found in her blood. Chittistista also had gabapentin in her system, a medication used to treat seizures and nerve pain. The issue with this? Alcohol combined with gabapentin can amplify the effects of intoxication, further impairing judgment and reaction time. The defense would later argue that the blood sample had been mishandled, that it had fermented, which led to inaccurate results. But prosecutors had something far stronger, something that couldn't be disputed. Detective Sergeant Jeff Hooper from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant at Chittistista's home, where he found the kitchen security cameras and extracted hours of footage. What they saw confirmed the severity of her actions. Then came another discovery that connected everything. 2 days after the crash, investigators searched Chittistista's trash. There, they found empty mini wine bottles, the same brand Anthony Cathawa had sold her at 9 a.m. that morning. The defense had claimed that Chittistista had only had 1 glass of wine at Werner's Bar and Grill. But what about the purchase made at 9 a.m.? What about the footage from her home? What about the empty bottles found in her trash? Chittistista was arrested at the hospital. She faced 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of operating while intoxicated causing death, and 5 counts of operating while intoxicated causing serious injury. She was looking at life in prison. But in a shocking twist, just 5 days after the crash, on April 25th, Chittistista posted a $1.5 million bond and was released. She had to surrender her passport, wear an alcohol tether, and refrain from driving, yet she went home to the house just 500 feet from where she had killed 2 children. Despite the gravity of the charges against her, she even gave interviews and press releases, continuing to present herself in a way that was in stark contrast to the reality of the devastation she had caused.
Wanted to just let people know, that I'm so very, very disturbed about the situation, and I don't remember what happened. I can only say that I've been praying for everyone that's been injured. I would never, ever do anything intentional. Never. I mean, that's just not me. And especially to a boat club that I love so much, and I have family and friends there. I think I had a seizure. I think that the same thing that my husband said that I did when I have a seizure is just go straight. And I think when I got in the car, that's what happened. I just had the seizure and probably put my foot on the accelerator and crashed into the building.
She thought she could leave it all behind, but for Mariah Doddy, the story was painfully different. She woke up in a hospital bed, her children gone. Her oldest son had survived, but it would take him 10.5 months to walk again. The community was in shock. 2 children dead at a birthday party, 15 people injured, and the woman who caused it all lived just down the street. Soon, the case was back in court. The defense immediately began crafting their strategy. Bill Kovos, Chittister's attorney, would argue that this wasn't murder, but rather the result of a medical emergency. Remember that argument because you'll soon see how it falls apart. In December, Kovos filed several pretrial motions. First, he requested a change of venue, arguing that his client couldn't receive a fair trial in Monroe County because it was too small, and everyone already knew about the case. Judge Daniel White denied the motion. Kovos then sought to suppress Chittister's statements to the police, claiming she hadn't been properly read her Miranda rights, and that her statements were involuntary. Again, Judge White denied the motion, but the defense wasn't done. Kovos also challenged the blood alcohol test results, arguing that the blood draw kit hadn't been refrigerated properly. He claimed the blood had fermented, and that acetone and isopropyl compounds in the sample indicated contamination. Judge White ruled that the jury would decide the validity of the test results. The trial was scheduled for March 3, 2025. The courtroom was packed. Family members of Alana and Zane wore shirts emblazoned with the children's photos and the words, "Our Guardian Angels." The prosecution presented the surveillance video of the crash, the SUV barreling toward the building, the violent impact, and the resulting destruction. The courtroom fell silent. Kovos gave his defense opening, acknowledging the tragedy but arguing that there was no intent to kill. He asked the jury to consider whether his client was reckless or whether she had suffered a medical crisis beyond her control. The prosecution called 27 witnesses over the course of 4 days. The first to testify was Kristen Sigler, the mother who had hosted the birthday party. Thankfully, she had stepped out of the party just before the crash to FaceTime a friend.
It was very loud, what sounded like a bomb, and I was right by the door, so I ran in, and it looked like a bomb at that point. I didn't know what happened. There was just my son and his cousins right in the doorway, and so I got them outside, and there was just debris everywhere.
Was there dust in the air? Was it hard to see?
Yes, there was a lot of dust still floating around. Some lights were flashing.
After you got your son and the other children outside, what did you do then?
I went back in and found Diane Medina and my niece Leah on the ground. So I started picking the debris up off of them and trying to help with them.
Next, Mariah Dodds took the stand.
After the crash, what's the first thing you remember?
Waking up in the hospital.
Okay. Do you have any recollection of the boat club after the crash at all?
No, just I remember trying to open my eyes and it was black, like I was asleep or something, and I heard like long distance voices. And it was just a few things that I heard, and then that was it. And then I woke up in the hospital.
But surprisingly, one of the biggest shockers of the case came right after Mariah Dodd's testimony. Instead of immediately cross-examining her, Chittister's lawyer, Bill Kovos, unexpectedly broke down in tears. The courtroom, already heavy with emotion, was thrown into stunned silence as Kovos, a seasoned attorney, visibly struggled to maintain composure. His tears weren't the calculated move of a defense strategy, they were raw, genuine, and seemingly out of place in such a high-stakes trial. The moment caught everyone off guard, leaving many to wonder what exactly was behind his emotional reaction. Was it the weight of the tragedy, the heartbreak of a mother losing 2 children, or was it the overwhelming realization of the case he was defending? In a courtroom filled with grief and anguish, Kovos' tears added an unexpected layer of complexity to the proceedings, challenging the very nature of the case and how it would be perceived by the jury.
Very sorry.
Sorry for your loss. I lost my son in September. He died peacefully at home. He was older. And every time I work on your case, I think you. And I think your children. And you have my deepest sympathy. And I'm human. I might be a defense attorney, but I'm human. And you seem like a much stronger person than me.
It's hard.
My prayers are with you and your family. I wish you the best. People keep telling me God has a plan. I guess that's what we gotta do. So I just wanted to come out of here for a minute and tell you, true heartfelt, that I feel very bad for you and your family. It's a club you don't want to belong to. And I don't have any questions for you. You've gone through enough in life. But,
Judge, people appreciate
I'm
Mr.
done.
Clovis'
I'm done.
sentiment.
Okay, thank you very much.
May she be excused? Yes, thank you, which means you're able to.
During closing arguments, the defense attempted to shift the focus, arguing that the blood test was flawed. They reminded the jury of Chittistister's perfect 50-year driving record, asking why, after such a long history of responsible driving, she would suddenly drive drunk into a building where she knew everyone. The defense painted a picture of an accident, a medical crisis, something out of her control. But the prosecution wasn't swayed. They meticulously walked through the timeline, laying out the evidence, the wine purchase, the security footage, her own admission on body camera, that she was at a 7 out of 10 in terms of intoxication. They reminded the jury of the neighbor's fence she had hit before crashing into the boat club building, a clear sign that she wasn't in control of her vehicle. Every detail painted a picture of reckless, dangerous behavior, not a medical emergency. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Their decision, guilty on all counts. Chittistister's sentencing came on March 17, 2025, and, of course, she had something to say. Standing in the courtroom, she addressed the judge and the families, her words a mix of defiance and regret, though still lacking the deep remorse many had hoped to hear. It was the final moment of the trial, but for many, it was just the beginning of a long journey toward justice and healing.
Right. I've been thinking about what I was going to say to you for over a year. That was a terrible, terrible tragedy. I can't help it. Say I'm so very, very sorry for the loss of your children. I pray for them every day. And I said, their Father would also forgive me, as well as people that were injured. I never meant to harm those children or anyone that was involved in the accident. And the only thing that I can say is, I'm so very sorry. And I never, ever meant to come across as not being so hurtful. I've asked the Lord to forgive me. And I ask that you at least look into your heart, and at some point, if you can possibly forgive me, I would appreciate that so much. I have a little verse that I want to read. It said, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercy never ends. And that comes from Lamentations 3:22. And I hope the Lord will show you some mercy and help you get over your terrible tragedy, loss of your children. And I'm, again, so very sorry. And I pray every day for you and your family, as well as I do for the other people that were injured. I pray that they will be able to recover and get back to their normal selves again. I'm sorry. That's really all I can say.
All right, thank you.
But in the end, Marcella Chittistister was sentenced to 25 to 50 years for the murder charges, 7 to 15 years for operating while intoxicated causing death, and 2 to 5 years for operating while intoxicated causing serious injury. The sentences would run concurrently, meaning the total time she could serve would be between 25 and 50 years. She would be eligible for parole in 25 years by then. She would be 92 years old. Marcella Chittister is currently serving her sentence in a Michigan state prison. Her attorneys have filed an appeal with the Michigan Court of Appeals, challenging the admission of the home security footage and arguing that the search warrant was defective. As for the parents and families of Alana and Zane, the journey of healing is far from over. They are still left picking up the shattered pieces of their lives, grappling with the profound loss of their children and the deep scars left by that tragic day. Their lives will never be the same, and no sentence, no legal outcome will ever fully restore what was taken from them.